back off and then come back on. But I'm staying on because I'm going to introduce Robert, who's going to come and talk to me. I think you know this guy. It's Robert. All right. Robert. Get a microphone. We're going to talk about politics. No. I'm an American now. I can't get thrown out of the country, so no, I won't do that.
That's when we see you, John. Soon.
We were driving over here, and John goes, "I want you to come up after Roundabout." And I said, I don't think I can do that. The 11-year-old inside me crapped his pants a little bit. I mean, this is an honor and a thrill and a privilege to be up here with you, and I'm not going to take much of your time. But the course of this songwriters series is to bother you guys can sit down. That's a lot of pressure on me. But thanks. I brought a book because, well, I like to read during performances. But, this is a 1972 review from Rolling Stone of Close to the Edge, and it's something I remember reading when I was a kid. Richard Cromlin wrote these words, and I think they're incredibly appropriate tonight, on a night when we get to hear your voice. When John Anderson's voice enters the scene, it's knockout time again. Though a noticeable distance between his singing and direct basic emotion is established through stylized phrasing and a slightly lofty, diffident tone, he is nonetheless engaging and human. His abstraction never becomes artificial, thanks to an ineffable urchin-like quality about his voice. A strange and unique combination of gentleness and power, in which every note is hard and solid at the core, but padded with a soft sweetness. I thought those were lovely words, and I thought of them frequently tonight as we sat here listening to you and your guitar. And I've wondered, as you have engaged in these acoustic concerts with these intimate crowds, as we get to really listen to your voice, what it's like for you to play by yourself and to reinterpret and to reimagine these songs and to let us hear you sing them and think about them in a different way.
I can hear what I'm singing.
What's that like?
It's in a way, it's very
Different.
yeah.
Turn up the guitar.
I think sometimes you know, when you're singing music and songs, it's as though I'm singing with you in your state of consciousness, and I don't really think about too much what I'm doing. Because if I started to think about what I'm doing, I'd forget shit. I really would. I'd forget words like that. I'm singing maybe 2,000 words every show. And you start thinking about the next verse, and oh, you've lost it. And so I don't think about it, I just sing, you see. And that's the idea of just letting it come through, you know, which is really great.
Because it's interesting, we bring with us the baggage of so many of these songs. We fill in the blanks in some ways for ourselves. We hear the other instruments playing along with you, the other musicians.
Yeah.
Do you hear that as well, or is there something different about this experience in performing in this setting in this way?
I'm just concentrating on trying to remember the chords and playing, and hoping that I get through the song. That's my main thing. Just get through it, you know, and enjoy it. And then there are times when I was doing like, what's it called, Starship Trooper tonight. I was thinking, yeah, towards the end of that, gosh, when the band was playing that, it was like another planet, you know, the roof would come off, you know, and it was amazing. It's an amazing feeling to remember those moments, really.
Awesome. Hey, John.
You know, I want to go back for a moment to 63 to the Warriors, and I want to go back to this whole idea because you had a brief solo career after that as Hans Christian Andersen.
Thank you very much for bringing that up.
Do you remember all of Never My Love?
Well, the association with
Right. But do you remember all of it?
No.
All right. That's too bad because I had to.
My love, that's about it, you know?
All right. That's all I remember.
My love. But you know, yes, when we first started, we would listen to the Association for the Harmonies, you know, and Frank Zappa for some of the crazy rhythms and things. And of course, at that time there was, you know, bands like the Byrds and Buffalo Springfield coming up, and it was like they were really very, very powerful for what Yes was trying to do as well. A lot of bands sort of listened to a lot of the music that was going on, and you know, we like cross-pollinized all the ideas, you know, into the music.
Well, also Leonard Bernstein, Stephen Sondheim. I mean, I'd like to go back to. I've always been obsessed with this idea that that album could feature the Beatles, original compositions, and Something's Coming from West Side Story.
Well, you know, that time I went to see. You know, it's hard to remember, but when you first see West Side Story, it blows your mind. I mean, it really does. The sound, the music, and the dancing, and the thing, it just blows you away. It's just incredible work, you know, a work of art. And of course, we just love the idea of pinching stuff from other people, like. We used to do that in the middle of America, the song. And that's only because one day Peter Banks started playing it in the corner. You know, I said, Peter, what are you playing? That's from West Side Story, America. I said, why don't we do the Paul Simon song and you could throw that in the middle? And within an hour or two, we got it together. That's how it worked.
Because it always struck me that what you guys did was extraordinary in as much as that everything was fair game.
Yeah.
And at what point did you realize, because you were all, in a way that I think very few bands have ever been since, all such extraordinary musicians?
Yeah. From your lips to...
And as you and Chris put the band together and began to assemble these musicians around you, at what point did you realize you had a group of guys, and especially as the lineup changed over the first couple of albums, at what point did you realize we can do anything and we are going to do everything?
It was a stepping stone situation. When Steve joined the band, the whole world changed for me because he could write, he could play incredible chords, and we wrote together right away. And then by the time Rick joined, it was like, oh, hello, a guy who knows everything about classical music. And, you know, he was just extraordinary. So when we did Fragile, it was like we were on a different planet to ourselves because we were just doing music that we were sort of engrossed in. And we were all very much in harmony. So we had this wonderful balance where I would be in the middle of these guys, and I'd be listening to what they were doing, and I'd pick up on things and suggest ideas, and that's how we built these large form pieces like Starship Trooper. I'd hear Steve doing, you know, that chord structure in the corner one night, and I said, what's that? So it's just these chords. I said, we should put that at the end, but you start it very quiet, and we'll build and build and build and build and build and build until we reach the heavens, you know, and that's what we did. So, in some ways, I was very fortunate to be surrounded by such great musicians, and you know, I could bring songs now and again to the band, and that's how it all blossomed. That they had the talent to be able to perform stuff that I could sing to them, ideas, you know, and that's how we created music. And I was very into the long form pieces. I was so connected to that idea. I still am. You know, I just released a piece called Open.
Which is it's a 20-minute piece.
Yeah, I sang a couple of parts of it tonight, and it's just the idea of doing something like taking you on a journey musically, and that's what you got to do with music. Is not specifically to make money. Music is to create and be part of the divine consciousness. That's Of course, the money's great when it happens. If you start trying to chase that crazy, you know, you might as well go to Vegas with all your money and put it on black or red or, you know.
But how did you reconcile then when the money came in, when the albums did well, and suddenly you were on the radio and that art? I mean, it seems that you were never, that you weren't intimidated by the success, and in fact, in some ways, sort of ran from it.
Yeah, well, basically I would just say, you know, okay, we're very successful, let's work harder. Get more successful, work harder, and work harder, and then work harder, and rehearse more. And thankfully, they stuck with it. They used to call me Napoleon, because I was, you know, I was sort of crazy and wild and wanted to do great, crazy different things, because why not? You know, I just never felt like a pop star personally, and I just didn't feel like that would just be a road to ruin if the band really followed that train. I mean, managers wanted it just to make money, and record companies just wanted to release hit records. But there's more to music than that, you know, and that's what I believe in still. So.
But you guys were also very lucky in as much as you had Ahmet Ertegun in your corner.
Ahmet Ertegun was our sort of godfather. He was the guy who ran Atlantic Records. And he started Atlantic Records because he had a great record collection, and that's all he was interested in doing, is creating great music. So he would say to me, don't worry what people say, just make great music, and whatever you want to do, just do it. And then after about, I think it was halfway through 1978, we put in this album, Going for the One, and we were doing Awaken, you know? I always remember it because he came backstage, he said, okay, you played Madison Square Garden 7 nights, you've been doing Awaken, why don't you do that old song, Anyone Who Had a Heart could look at me and know that I love you. You'd have a hit record with that. I said, sorry, Ahmet, I can't sing that. I said, no, please, why don't you record it? But I never did.
Not even for him.
No, I'm sorry. I was sort of committed to wherever I was going, which was kind of out there into the world, into the cosmos. You know.
I will not keep you much longer. Someone in the back had asked me to ask you as I was coming up here. We know what inspired you in the beginning. We know that it was a bit of everything.
Yeah.
What continues to inspire you? You've talked about the internet collaborations. You're doing so much with so many different people.
Yeah.
Clearly, there are things that still continue to elicit some kind of emotion out of you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I heard Tim tonight. I said, Tim, here, I'll give you my email address. Send me a song. We'll work together. I'll sing some harmonies. You know. It was beautiful. Why not? And that's what I've been doing. I'm working with so many different people, from very young people to classically trained people to indigenous people who send me sort of music, and I'm building this sort of empire of music. It's going to come out one day when I find the right way to get it out into the world. But it's something that's a sort of big dream. It's like Elias of Sun Hill, as I talked about earlier. I'm doing this thing called Zamran, which is the son of Elias. And it's got a lot to do with the structure of the earth. And I won't get into it because it'll drive you crazy, because it drives me crazy thinking about it. I'm very interested in how the world works, you know? So that's the inspiration is constant.
I appreciate you doing this. I see there are a few songs left on your list here.
Thank
Thank you very much.